Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Luis here with Green Zebra Gardening. Today we're gonna be at today we are at the home garden. I'm gonna need to clean this stuff up. So I think this is gonna be a tour, like a cleanup video. So I'm gonna take you through real quick, show you basically the before. I really haven't worked in here in at least a few weeks. If you've been keeping up with the videos that I just basically restarted doing, I have been working at the community garden quite a bit to get that set up. But I gotta come through here and do some maintenance, and then that way we can get the stuff cleaned up and see what needs to be done. Alright, let's go. Alright, so we start with this bed. There's a lot of beans in here. I put beans all the way around. Looks like we may have our first beans coming in. I don't remember the variety. I just saw the bush beans. They're supposed to be bush beans. There are a couple pepper plants in here. There's 1, 2. There are some zinnias in here, which have gotten pretty dang big. But most of this is beans. There are some pepper plants up here too, if I can find them. There's that one, and there's this one right here. I'm not sure what this is. Probably a weed. Toss it over there. Those are bean plants I pulled out from the banana pup. I had them planted all the way around. They basically overtook the banana, and so I pulled them. The grass definitely needs to be cleaned up. I don't know if I'll be doing that today. I think I'm just going to clean up the beds themselves. We got tomato. Don't know the variety. So yeah, it looks like we need to trim some suckers, literally. And possibly harvest some garlic. We do have a ton of zinnias in this one. Tomatoes. I think there's a cucumbers or squash in the back. I think they're cucumbers. More tomatoes. The onions may need to start coming out. I definitely need to check all the oyas. Make sure that they have water in them. Some kind of squash, peppers, a lot of bird poop. Sunflowers. We have one potato. I think one, maybe 2 potato buckets left. Sunflowers. I started up a ton of sunflowers. I went through all the seed exchange packets I still had around, and I grabbed all the sunflowers and all the zinnias, and I basically just seeded them all, whatever came up. I transplanted into here, and I kept some, and I took some over to the community garden. Although for that, I think I used bought some bulk excuse me, some bulk zinnia seeds, and so most of those came up because they were fresh. I'm not quite sure what squash that is, but it is trying to take over, and I think it's pretty good about it, succeeding. There is a pepper plant, at least one in there. Actually, I can see another one down here. Ooh, I just snapped something. And that was, thankfully, it was a sucker. But that was a big sucker. Oh. Maybe a butternut? I don't know. It might be the smaller pumpkins from San Diego Seed Company. That is a massive plant though. This one looks like it's got some kind of infestation. Is that whitefly? Maybe. Lots of tomatoes back here. That's a New Yorker. Some kind of pepper. Ooh. Kind of looks like a shishito, but I know it's not because I didn't plant shishitos. Oh, this is the Florida Petite. Check it out. They have lots of tomatoes on there. An onion that went to seed, went to flower. Tomatoes, peppers, sweet potatoes, another tomato, another New Yorker. This is an ají dulce. We have some zinnias in here. We dropped in some beans. And this is where the sunflowers really start. We have a massive tomato plant in the back. Sunflowers, these are all one variety because they all look similar. And then I think this is another variety. I didn't know how big they were going to get. I'm sure there were some mammoth sunflowers in there. I just don't know which, because I just, like I said, I just threw them all in containers. My Florida Petites, looks like they've got some kind of white flies all over them. I think that's what those are. And then we do have a sunflower that's just out of control. I need to make sure I water this pepper. This is overwintered from last year. I need to make sure I fill that up. That is a self-watering container kit. The grow bucket kits, you put them into a 5-gallon bucket, convert them into self-watering containers. We have a garlic in here. We actually have a couple garlics in here. We have a pepper. We have the one single eggplant that actually survived. This is the midnight moon or something like that. In here we have some tomatoes. We have definitely some sunflowers, and I use pepper, another kind of pepper. I think this is a garlic that probably needs to come out. We have some fruit water, right? Check it out. I pulled one about a week ago. It's not this big, not this pretty, so this looks pretty good. This banana's not looking all that hot though. We do have some new leaves coming up right there. I'm gonna chop these off, put them into the compost bin. I harvested out a tote of compost the other day because I needed to top it back up, or you know, put more kitchen scraps in there, and it was too full. So I topped it up, or rather pulled out that much, and then the other day I just went ahead and put in the what do you call them, these things, the lemon peels. So we're at about 100 right now, which is not terrible. It's not the greatest. It was at about 120-ish. I went ahead and pulled out the compost out of the bottom. It went down, shrank, watered it in, and then I just left it alone. And you know, it shrank down even more, and so it's at a decent what do you call it, temperature. Not the greatest, but it's decent. So now I'm gonna take those, dump them in here. This is mostly finished compost, so I will probably dump some in here, although this container's pretty full. Dump some in there, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with the rest of it. But I will set you guys up on a time lapse. Alright, so I'm going to set you guys up further down, probably on one of these bins, maybe facing this way, but I'm going to show you the progress I've made. This guy would need to get moved back there because I want it along the bed, but I took out some of the sunflowers just because they were literally overcrowding everything over here. We have the sweet ají dulce pepper. We have a few other things that have popped up. I think that's a papaya down there. I did use a lot of home compost in this, and I was bringing papayas from the other place, the old garden, and my sister also gave us some papayas because they have 1 or 2 trees, and so mom's been eating them, and so whatever you know, kitchen scraps come out of that, then I just throw it into the compost. I trimmed back the hell out of that tomato plant. There's not much left. It was basically just falling over, and so I was letting it do its thing. And so now I kind of tied it up there. I'm gonna see if it does, how it does. This next tomato plant, I trimmed out basically all the bottom leaves and just left the top portion of it. The sunflower's gonna leave alone. So in this bed right now, looks like we might have another papaya right in there. So in this bed right now, we have a pepper plant, 2 pepper plants, 2 bananas, or not 2 bananas, 2 tomatoes, and possibly 2 papayas. So I'm going to try and transplant those out, so that way because my sister's trees aren't looking that good, and they went hollow and they're massive, and I think they're falling over. And so I think they wanted to go and start some seeds from some papaya trees from seed. So this might actually help them. We do have some tomatoes down there. I don't remember what any of these varieties are. We do have a pepper plant that probably needs staking. I'll see if I can find one. I cleaned out, I cleaned out all the garlic. I went ahead and trimmed back the bottom leaves of the sunflower. I trimmed out the grass that was growing all around. I'm not really going to do anything else to this one. I'm going to leave the sunflowers in here for now. I might clean up some of the ugly little parts in here, especially like the stuff that's touching the soil. And the diseased tomato leaves, those are going out into the garbage because those are severely diseased. And the next bed, we have, looks like a pepper plant back here. I'm gonna have to, yeah, this one is fully, like the bottom was all diseased, all kinds of messed up. So I'm gonna have to tie that up over there. There is a pepper plant in there. I've been harvesting as I go along. I took out all the onions, not that bucket. We have onions, onions, potatoes, and some garlic in there. And so I've been topping off the beds with the soil from the potatoes, the spent compost, or the spent soil anyway. And so it's looking okay. I do have more, I don't have that same mulch because Kellogg stopped making it. So now that grower, that supply company, is actually looking for another vendor that makes something very similar, because a lot of people love that stuff, including myself. So I've been topping that off. I did find some other mulch, some cedar mulch, shredded cedar, and that seemed to be okay. I put it up at the community garden. Anyway, this is, this is my next task, although I don't know how much I'm going to actually take out. I might trim back some of these leaves. These are sweet potato leaves. I may actually take some of these, put them in the water. Once they root, I can put them along the edge here. I definitely need to clean that tomato plant up. Possibly the squash. And obviously all the grass that goes along with it for now. So I think I'm going to do 2 beds at a time, give you an update as to where I'm at, and then, you know, and work my way down. Although really all that's left is that 2 beds? 1? Yeah, really just 2 beds. And I might trim back some of the beans over there, and then just the ground. The grass has been coming up in clumps, and so I've been tossing them into that blue bin. From that blue bin, they're gonna go into the compost. If I have too much to put in here, I may take them down to the compost at the community garden and dump them in there, because it's a much bigger space, obviously. So I might do that, but that would only be like the grass. Excuse me, like basically really just the grass and the plants that haven't made it. The disease stuff I'm definitely not taking down there. But they don't want us to put in the spent plants or the diseased plants that are in the Solanaceae family, you know, eggplants, tomatoes, peppers to a degree, because those can easily spread. And as you can see, yeah, this one's like, I think it was because it had the bigger plants out here, and because it's been kind of cold, it hasn't gotten a lot of sun, a lot of heat, so we're gonna spread that out. And some of the pepper plants in here are gotten a little leggy, so I might need support for them. So if I can find some stakes, I will stake them up. Alright, so just to recap everything that we've done, the only other thing I have to do after this is water. I'm going to make sure that the graders are filled. I'll set you guys up on a time lapse for that, but that's what's going to close out this video after I sign out. Clean out everything I could, everything that probably needed it, I need to water that in. I need to move it over further. Some of these things just need to be moved over a little. We have another container of potatoes. It's looking okay, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to water all that in. Topped off with a little bit of the spent soil. I do have some more of the compost. I started spraying that out. I'll show you in a minute. And I'm going to top these containers off, these beds. And I do have mulch that I take out from one of the containers. I'll show you. Top this off with some soil. Just so, you know, it feeds the soil and, you know, has somewhere to go. This one I didn't clean up a whole lot. But I did get rid of a lot of the tomato plant. Actually, I pulled that a full tomato plant out of here and trimmed this one back quite a bit, just so it'll give it some space to grow, and it'll get that air flowing through there. This one I didn't really do a whole lot because everything looks pretty okay other than the bird poop. I didn't pull out the garlic back there. I just realized actually there's two garlics back here. Here's one. This one I didn't take off the scape, so I know it's going to be a small bulb. Although, I was holding on pretty good. Actually not bad, considering I didn't pull the scape. Alright. Let me drop that over here into the bucket. My garlic, onions, and some potatoes in there. And I found a small, I want to say maybe a sweet banana pepper. Anyway. Clean that up a little bit, clean this up a little bit, gave stuff some airflow, pulled all the onions out of here, topped it off with the compost that came out of the compost bin this week or last week. Pulled them all, took off all the mulch, had a lot of mulch on there, topped it all the way off, still have some left. I'm going to use this to top off some of the stuff down there, probably backfill some of this stuff. Tomatoes, these are the red pears, they're not looking too hot, but I may just compost these as well. I think I tried to stand that one up, but I think it kept falling over, I'm not sure. But it does have tomatoes on it, so I'm going to leave it alone for now. Some cucumbers in the back, some zinnias in the front. This one I definitely need to water. This is peppers, tomatoes, oh, and the marigolds in here just gotten really tall because they're looking for sun. This doesn't even have a Growoya. This doesn't have anything on it for watering, so this one I have to water myself. I will probably use some of that mulch to help, but because the plants have grown in so well, the soil doesn't seem all that, doesn't get a ton of sun. Another garlic. I just stepped on the other garlic over here, so I'm gonna pick that up. It's over here. That's all the stuff that needs to go in the compost bin. That I left alone. That I'm gonna probably top some of that compost. This one I cleaned up a little. Not a whole lot. Let's go with another garlic. Oh, that actually looks pretty good. It didn't divide out, but it's fine. I am pulling them out later than I did last year. Last year I pulled them in April. We are now like the second week of June, so I left them in here a little longer. Besides, I kind of want to get them out just so I can get the other stuff planted up. Now that I have the community garden set up. Top this one off. Pulled everything except for the sunflower, the zinnia, and the petite, Florida petite. Emptied all that out into the compost bin. That was all the bean plants. I didn't get to this bean bush over here. I may clip these off, put them in the compost bin. This I'm just gonna leave alone. It's growing okay. I'm gonna put that thermometer back in the compost bin. Let me show you the compost bin real quick. That's all the bean plants are over there. Some of the grass clippings. Everything is pretty wet, so I'm not going to wet this down. And I'm gonna shove that back in there. And I'm going to let that break down some. I didn't get to all the grass on this side, but I'm tired. I got a lot of stuff cleaned up. I'm very happy. I didn't catch up on all the work, but I got caught up on a decent amount to where I'm happy. I will be posting pictures of all the harvest over on Instagram. If I remember, I'll drop one in this video. But for now, I think we're good. That's pretty much it for this video. Alright guys, that's gonna be it. Go ahead and hit that bell notification, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got 2 gardens, and so I've got plenty of content to shoot. I figured I'd take I think it was like 2 weeks off. But with that said, I've got a lot of stuff going on. So I will catch you guys on the next one.